Good evening, and welcome to Doctorpiece Theater. My name is Dr. Dennis Business, and tonight we will begin a new adventure. We have walked through the psyche of Greg. We have stepped into the mind of Richard Bachman, sat through a school shooting, and walked the long walk. My friends, it is time for us to choose our own adventure. Beware and warning. This book is different from other books. You, and you alone, are in charge of what happens in this story. There are dangers, choices, adventures, and consequences. You must use all of your numerous talents and much of your enormous intelligence. The wrong decision could end in disaster, even death. But don't despair. At any time, you can go back and make another choice, alter the path of your story, and change its result. The only water supply for your small forest village has become polluted beyond repair. Your wise friend, Marie Claire, sends you off with a magical talisman in hopes that you'll be able to save your village from demise. Can you solve the town riddle and find the sorceress? Even if you find her, will she be able to purify the well? Does a unicorn reside in the forest? Its horn is said to fix even the worst of ailments, but is it too late to save it? A fire-breathing dragon, angry warlock, and devilish duchess all stand in your path. You must muster all of your bravery, quick thinking, and creativity to weave a magical route to safety for your village and for yourself. The summer of 1507 is exceptionally dry throughout Flanders. Fires scorch the forests, crops wither, and animals collapse from thirst. Nowhere is the drought as severe as in your own small village. Just last week, when you went to check the dwindling water supply, you discovered a dead rat floating in the well upon which everyone depended. Since then, the water has been foul and tainted. The barrels of rainwater are nearly empty, and all attempts to dig a new well have yielded nothing but dry earth. One morning, after weeding the field you inherited when your parents died 10 years ago, you pay a visit to Mary Claire. She is the oldest person in the village and one of your special friends. Some people say this might be the last summer any of us lives to see, you tell her sadly. None of the other villages around has enough water to share with us, and it's hopeless to keep trying to dig a new well. I wish there was something I could do about it. Mary Claire looks up from her knitting. You could try to lure a unicorn to the well. Why, the touch of its horn purifies even poison. But Marie Claire, you exclaim, around here unicorns are rarer than water. I bet it would be easier to find the sorceress than a unicorn. That's a good idea, she replies. I'm sure the sorceress knows all about unicorns. Why don't you look for her? But no one has seen her in years, you remind Marie Claire. The last person who tried to find her never returned. Ah, but you are 10 times smarter than anyone who has ever searched for the sorceress. If anyone can find her, it is you, child. Although you feel flattered, you are not sure you are really clever enough. Well, I'll give it a try. I wonder if I still remember that riddle describing the way to find the sorceress. Is this right? You take a deep breath in and recite. Near a land reserved for woe, in a place that's high but low, watch which way the bat doth go. Find me there, and I will know. Perfect, says Marie Claire as she hands you a glass pendant shaped like a raindrop. Put on my good luck talisman. Use it as you need it, my friend. You say goodbye to Marie Claire, and then roam the parched fields. After pondering the riddle, you think of 2 places reserved for woe. The sorceress could mean the village graveyard, or the small camp outside the village where 2 men who suffer from leprosy live in gloomy isolation. If you decide to go to the leper camp, turn to page 8. If you head for the graveyard, turn to page 12. You turn down the path to the shabby hut where the 2 leprosy victims live. You know the villagers stay far from the men for fear of catching their dreaded skin disease, and they will be very upset if they ever learn you visited this place. When you glimpse the 2 swollen faces peering out of the doorway, you panic, and then force yourself to continue towards them. Welcome, friend. Please come inside, says one of the men warmly. Thanks, but I'll stay outside, you reply. I'm looking for the sorceress. The riddle says she lives near a place of woe, and I thought that might mean you're home. Well, since no one will have anything to do with us, this is indeed a woeful place, says the second man. But I don't think it's the one your riddle describes. We have never seen the sorceress. I think she even must be afraid of catching our disease. Is leprosy that bad? You ask. No, says the first man, but the way people treat us is horrible. In fact, you better hurry back. If anyone sees you here, they won't let you return home. You say goodbye to the men and head towards home. As you reach the road to the village, you meet several of your neighbors. Their faces whiten. Their eyes dart back and forth between you and the men with leprosy, who are still standing by their doorway. Stay back, shouts one man. Keep away. It's all right, you insist. I was just there for a minute. You can't return to the village. Go back to the lepers, shrieks another neighbor, eyeing you fearfully. As you start to follow them, the villagers gather stones. Leper! Leper! They scream, throwing rocks at you. Filled with horror, you race away from the villagers. You slowly realize you can't go home, but cling to the hope that their panic will subside in a few days, especially if you find a way to purify the well. Since you can't continue your search for the sorceress by investigating the graveyard, you decide to concentrate on finding a unicorn. You turn away from your village and walk along the road towards the forest, hoping to find a unicorn there. Before long, you hear a cart approaching behind you. The driver is Simon, a traveling peddler you've always liked. You wave to him and ask, "Where are you going?" Simon pulls the cart to a halt beside you. Everyone around here is too upset about the drought to take much interest in my trinkets. I'm going to try my luck in the city of Aris. At least, people will still be trading there. You want to join me? I wouldn't mind some company for such a long trip. Aris, you've never been to that city before. Although you would really love to go, you suspect unicorns are more likely to live in the forest. But maybe you could meet someone in Aris who could tell you how to find a unicorn. If you decide to search for a unicorn in the forest, turn to page 13. If you climb in the cart headed for Aris, turn to page 14. I'm going to have to pick search for a unicorn in the forest. Thanks, but I can't go with you now. How about another time, you tell Simon. You wave goodbye as he heads down the road. When he disappears from view, you leave the road and make your way into the shadowy forest. The air is parched and still. Even the birds are quiet. As you travel deeper into the forest, the only sound you hear is the crunching of your footsteps on dry leaves. After several hours of walking, you notice a few long strands of silver tangled in a bush. You hold your discovery up to the light, trying to decide whether it is fine thread or hair. You've never seen anything like it. As you look around for other strands of silver, you spot several small hoof prints. They are too little to belong to a horse and aren't the right shape for a deer. Your heart stops for a second when you realize the hoof prints and the silver hair strands may be traces of a unicorn. You search for more evidence and are surprised to see that the hoof prints lead in one direction and the silver hairs in another. You pause, trying to decide which way to go. If we follow the hoof prints, turn to page 30. If we head in the direction of the silver strands, turn to page 52. That was our first try at reading through The Magic of the Unicorn, a choose-your-own-adventure book with 27 different endings. It's interesting, and I think we need something a little lighter considering that we've just been on death marches and school shootings in Greg. Let's go get some fucking unicorns, man. Let's get some magic. Let's go slay a fucking sorceress. What is she doing? Poisoning our village well. Fuck her. Fuck that bitch. So, I will post these on YouTube and on Patreon, and if you want to slide into my DMs and tell me what you want to choose, that's all good. I'm sure we're going to figure it out as we go along. But that's something we can deal with next time, because this has been Doctorpiece Theater, and my name is Dr. Dennis Business. And as always, my friends,